So if you've been questioning your sexuality lately, or maybe somebody around you has been questioning their sexuality, you may hear different terms and phrases that you haven't heard before. I think a really important distinction to make, and one of the terms that I really want to talk about today, is asexuality versus allosexuality. And this is something that a lot of people haven't heard of until they've kind of immersed themselves in ace culture. Asexual, I feel like a lot of people have heard, even if they don't really know what it is, they've kind of been familiarized with it for whatever reason. Allosexual is a term that not a lot of people know. And so anytime I bring it up or people around me bring it up, there can be some confusion. So I wanted to take a moment to really quick just clear those up. So if you are undergoing this questioning process, whatever the case may be, you kind of know what's going on and you can kind of figure things out a little bit more and a little bit easier. I'm going to say those words one more time. Asexual, allosexual, two sides of a very different coin. Let's start with the very basic asexual. I think that's a term a lot of people have heard. If you have no idea what that means, basically an asexual person experiences little to no sexual attraction. So that means there's really not a lot of attraction or sexual feelings towards anybody. I identify as asexual. I am asexual, so I kind of know how that feels. But I also don't really know how that feels. I think one of the problems that asexual people face is that we don't really know what sexual attraction feels like because we don't feel it on a regular basis. And so anytime anybody tries to explain it to us, it's like trying to explain air. It's like, I don't really know what you're saying. I don't experience it, but clearly you do. And so sexual attraction is a whole other thing to talk about at a later date. But that's generally what the term asexual means. Broadly, it means little or no sexual attraction. Now, there's different types of asexual people, different types of asexuality. You can even branch that off into demisexual or gray sexual, and those terms are a little bit more specific, a little bit of a different way to explain asexual. But the umbrella term that a lot of people will use is asexual or aspectrum. If you have asexual people, that means on the flip side, you have people who are heterosexual or homosexual or bisexual or pansexual or a number of different sexualities. And so basically what happened was asexual people existed and they realized they existed and they needed a term to explain the other type of people, the people who do experience regular sexual attraction. And so that's where the term allosexual comes from. I don't know the history on any of these terms, so if you want to figure that out, you can look that up yourself. But allosexual, anytime I use it or other ace people refer to allosexual people, it basically just means people who have sexual attraction. Again, it's an umbrella term, so it really just means sexual people. And it can be anything. It can be heterosexual, homosexual, bi, pan, whatever. I just said them, you know. And so chances are, if you're not asexual, you're probably allosexual. And there's nothing wrong with either of those. I think a lot of times asexual people can feel hostility towards allosexual people. Allosexual people can feel hostility towards asexual people, like it happens. But there's really nothing wrong with either one. I'm an ace person, but I have a lot of allo friends and they're really great and I love talking to them even when they talk to me about sex. And I know I have, obviously, since I have a lot of allosexual friends, they have an ace friend in me and they seem to like me just fine. So it doesn't have to be a big battle, rage against the machine kind of thing. But it is important to understand that there are different types of people. Like, you know that, right? There's different types of people. Yeah, but if you're using this term, I think it's really important to kind of bring it to the forefront to let people know that it exists. Because a lot of people just assume that allosexual is the norm when there are asexual people out there. So just a little tip, a reminder to remember that, to keep that in mind while you're talking about sexuality. And it's a term that will pop up a lot if you're looking into asexuality. If you're looking for more information on asexuality, I have a couple of resources and videos up for that. Otherwise, you can look online, you can find books, there's a lot of information out there. And even though it's confusing, I promise you will find some answers. Some, not a lot, but some.